As the local government polls inches ever so closer, there has much been said on political hustings. We have all of that and much more. Good evening and welcome. This is Newsfirst Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo, bringing you the news tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And for the Newsfirst team, I am Hashni Patharana. First up is a look at your headlines for tonight.
Mervyn remanded once more. Gammampila acquitted and released from 21 million rupee embezzlement case. Acceptance of nominations for Mana, Punakari and Dehiyattakandiya Pradesh Sabhas begin. Will not form alliances, says Sajid. Professor Charita Herath hints at potential openings to unite in the quest for power. South Korean court reinstates impeached Prime Minister Han Duck-soo as acting president.
In tonight's top story, 3 newly appointed foreign ambassadors to Sri Lanka presented credentials to President Anurakumara Dissanayake today at the President's office.
The newly appointed ambassadors represent France, State of Palestine and Nepal. Accordingly, Remy Lambert has been appointed as the ambassador of France.
Republic of Sri Lanka.
Ihab I.M. Khalil has been appointed as the ambassador of State of Palestine.
Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka.
Dr. Purna Bahadur Nepali has been appointed as the ambassador of Nepal. Former Minister Mervyn Silva has been remanded until the 3rd of April following a court order issued today by Maharam Magistrate Kanchana in Silva.
The court issued the order to further remand former Minister Mervyn Silva after rejecting his bail application. Silva, along with 2 others, were arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department on the 6th of March. They are accused of violating the Public Property Act by allegedly selling government-allocated land to a private buyer. The case is scheduled to be heard again on the 3rd of April.
Former Minister Uday Gammampila was acquitted and released today by the Colombo High Court in a case involving the alleged criminal misappropriation of 21 million rupees through a fraudulent share transaction. The court also acquitted Sydney Jayasinghe, a businessman who was co-accused in the case.
The charges stemmed from allegations that between the 26th of September 1996 and the 25th of September 1997, Gammampila and Jayasinghe had misused a fraudulent power of attorney to sell shares worth 21 million rupees belonging to a company owned by Australian businessman Brian Shaddick. After a lengthy trial, High Court Judge Namal Balale ruled that the prosecution had failed to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. The court's decision highlighted the lack of sufficient evidence to support the allegations against the accused.
In the end, the truth has won. Today, the court made it clear that all the accusations couldn't be proven and were in fact false. Even when people who speak out against corruption are wrongly accused of it, this decision once again shows that we have an independent judiciary in this country that upholds justice.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
The acceptance of nominations in the Mana, Punakari and Dehiyattakandiya Pradesh Sabhas began today. The acceptance of nominations will end on the 27th of March at 12 noon.
The National People's Power has already submitted their nominations for the Dehiyattakandiya Pradesh Sabha.
The opposition keeps making unfounded accusations, completely ignoring the hard work we are doing. They are accusing us of things they've done themselves. But despite that, as the National People's Power, we stand strong with 22 electorates and 23 candidates. Each of these candidates are ready to earn the trust of the people and represent the Pradesh Sabha this time around.
The National People's Power also submitted nominations for the Punakari Local Council today.
We are confident that just like we achieved significant victories in many parts of the country, we can achieve a huge victory in the Punakari Pradesh Sabha as well.
The National People's Power also submitted nominations for the Mana Pradesh Sabha today. The deadline to deposit bonds for the Mana, Punakari and Dehiatakandia Pradesh Sabhas is the 26th of March at 12 noon. Polling for the 336 local government bodies where nominations have been finalized is scheduled for the 6th of May. 107 recognized political parties are contesting in this election. 49 independent groups are also contesting in this election.
What is the National People's Power stance? General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Tilwin Silva, commented on this during the Pathikada program on Sirasa TV.
When you go to the village, instead of voting based on clear policies, people often vote because of small favours they've received. On top of that, let's say their relatives and friends are running for office, and there is this strong our person mentality among the villagers. But people in our country shouldn't decide who to vote for in local government elections based on these personal connections. If you want to support your family, there are other ways to do that, like inviting them over for dinner. But elections are not about that. They are not about someone calling the police or getting a light bulb fixed. If someone has done something wrong, you shouldn't step in to get them off the hook. If we want to run the country properly, we need to follow the law. We need leaders who understand that and don't resort to such shortcuts.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya and leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa stressed that he has no intention of aligning with anyone politically. He expressed these views while speaking to local government candidates in the Kurunegala district.
Today, some news reports are claiming that I, along with others, am in talks to join alliances. If that were the case, would we be campaigning under the telephone symbol? Would we be running under the Samagi Jana Balawegaya banner? Why are they pushing these false narratives? The truth is, our opponents are scared. They know that for the first time, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya will be contesting a local government election, and thousands of our members will become the biggest grassroots movement in the country. There are some trying to spread lies saying that I, Mahinda, Ranil and others are coming together. It is not true. We have no interest in entering alliances with anyone. We are confident that the Samagi Jana Balawegaya will win big in the upcoming local government elections across the country.
Even though the party leader has made his position clear, the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya has recently said that talks about a possible alliance with the United National Party are still ongoing.
We are still in discussions. When two parties that have been on opposite sides of the political spectrum try to come together, naturally there are some challenges. It is going to take time to sort everything out. We will see where things go. We can't predict the future like astrologers. We have had several rounds of discussions, but we have decided to contest separately in the elections. After that, we will work together to form local government bodies.
Former Member of Parliament from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Professor Charita Hera, today said that steps will be taken to form alliances and create a government after the election.
After the local government elections, there is a chance to team up with anti-government groups within these local bodies to gain power. But no one is looking to form joint political parties or coalitions. A lot of unexpected things could happen in this rural election.
A group who claimed they were ready to contest for the Galigamuwa Pradeshiya Sabha under the Samagi Jana Balawegaya but were denied nominations also held a media briefing.
For this election, we had our nomination lists all ready and I even got a message on my phone telling me to come and sign. When I showed up, the organizer's secretary asked me to wait for 10 minutes until the organizer arrived. After waiting, the organizer finally showed up and said there was nothing that could be done. He seemed upset and apologized, telling me that all of our names, 9 of us in total, had been removed. At that point, I just decided not to waste any more time, said my goodbyes and left. I contacted the United National Party right away, and within 10 minutes, they managed to get us nominations.
Even if I had contested and won, I would have just ended up being at the mercy of the appointed members. I realized that kind of politics isn't for me, so I decided to walk away. I left politics to escape a system that sidelines people like us, those who have sacrificed so much and uses us as if we were disposable. If our leader does not see us, if the General Secretary doesn't acknowledge it, if the district leader doesn't recognize what we've done, why should we stay in politics? We have been through a lot. In fact, we've actively involved in the Aragalaya. We even ended up on Sajid Premadasa's TikTok. We have made enormous sacrifices. We have been imprisoned, fought hard and helped bring down governments. After all that, how can we keep going in the Galigamu electorate with such weak leadership?
Samagi Janabalawegya MP Kavinda Jayawardena and former MP Ajit Manamperuma took part in a religious ceremony today to celebrate the birthday of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The event was held at the historic Veheragoda Rajamahaviharaya in Sedawata to mark the occasion of Ranil Wickremesinghe's 75th birthday. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Sagara Karyavasam said that the people are ready to give the power of the village back to the SLPP in the upcoming local government elections.
This time, the people are ready to give the power of the village to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna at the local government elections, and we are ready to take it back. After obtaining a 2/3 majority in parliament and electing a president, if the NPP now wants the power of the village as well, I think it is an insult to the people. Before they ask for the power of the village, they should first fulfill the promises they made when they came to power. The NPP has no moral right to ask for the villagers' mandate in this way.
ජාතික ජනබලවේගයට කිසිදු සදාචාරාත්මක අයිතියක් නැහැ.
The SLPP also issued a clarification about Yoshida Rajapaksa.
යෝෂිත රාජපක්ෂ කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ සමාජිකයෙක් නෙවෙයි.
Yoshida Rajapaksa is not a member of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. However, he is the brother of our party's national organizer and the son of our party leader. I made some inquiries about this matter, and based on the information I gathered, there are no complaints or legal actions against Yoshida Rajapaksa. The only incident involved a situation where a complaint was made, and it was mentioned that Yoshida Rajapaksa had been at the location shortly before. Beyond that, as far as I am aware, there is no connection. So if we leave a place and something goes wrong there and our name gets associated with it, it can become a serious problem for both you and me. I believe such situations should not occur in this country.
මං හිතන්නේ මේ වගේ දේවල් මේ රටේ සිදු නොකළ යුතුයි කියන එක.
News First with the people.
News First. Main sponsor.
Vihilu නෙමේ ටෝකියෝ සුපර් ඕන වැඩකට සුපර්. Vihilu නෙමේ ටෝකියෝ සුපර් ඕන වැඩකට සුපර්.
Welcome back to the news. Over the past few days, we have shared 15 harrowing accounts from the Batalanda Commission report, which laid bare the horrific torture and murders that took place at the Batalanda torture chamber nearly 3 decades ago. This report dives deeper into the story of one witness to the Batalanda Commission, an individual who not only witnessed these atrocities but also narrowly escaped death.
Former Sub-Inspector Ajit Jayasinghe, now living in Australia, played a pivotal role in the search for the missing officer in charge of the Sapugaskanda Police Station's Criminal Investigation Division, Rohita Priyadarshana. Ajit, who was serving in the Traffic Division of the Palyagoda Police Station, took leave to fully dedicate himself to finding his missing friend. On the 23rd of February 1990, Ajit made a bold statement in the Palyagoda police station's detention cell, declaring that whoever killed Priyadarshana would be found and killed. This declaration led to Ajit being pursued for his life. On the 26th of February 1990, while returning from the police hospital with another individual via Baseline Road, Assistant Superintendent of Police Douglas Piris attempted to abduct Ajit. ASP Piris had reportedly signalled Ajit to stop his motorcycle. As Ajit dismounted and approached Piris, he reported to the Presidential Commission that Piris placed a pistol to his neck. Subsequently, Piris's police team seized Ajit's firearm and placed him in a van, taking him to the torture chamber. Inside the van, Ajit pulled a grenade from his pocket and removed the pin, causing the police officers to jump out of the van. Piris then approached Ajit, asking him to hand over the grenade. Ajit had jumped out of the van and Piris had moved further away. The commission report states that a large crowd gathered at the scene. Ajit showed his official ID to the military personnel who arrived subsequently and requested to be taken to the Senior Superintendent of Police in Kalaniya. The military personnel thereafter had detonated the grenade in a deserted area and they took him to the Palyagoda police station. At the Palyagoda police station, Ajit sought protection from SSP Nalin Delgoda, who, according to Ajit's testimony, assaulted him with a firearm. Ajit was detained at the Palavatta Detention Centre from the 27th of October 1990 to the 7th of January 1992 on charges of being associated with the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. A friend intervened and secured Ajit's release from the detention centre after he agreed to certain conditions. Under these conditions, Ajit's friend arranged for him to be sent to the United Kingdom. Ajit Jayasinghe remains abroad to this day.
My friend
Rohita's life is ultimately lost due to the murder of Gonawala Sunil's brother. Rohita personally informed me about this. Within 10 days of Gonawala Tudor's murder, Rohita was killed. Rohita told me that Tudor was killed during a sudden interrogation. SSP Delgoda informed me that Ranil Wickramasinghe had instructed to release Tudor. I asked why they were sending him now, questioning if there was anyone left. Delgoda was not flustered and said to inform the SSP immediately that Tudor died during questioning. I knew then that the issue was being taken up by Ranil Wickramasinghe. Ranil Wickramasinghe would order the SSP to release Tudor. The SSP said he would inform within half an hour that Tudor was dead. This was the immediate cause of Rohita Priyadarshana's death.
Former Sub-Inspector Ajit Jayasinghe has expressed his willingness to support any legal proceedings related to the Batalanda torture camp. Such living testimonies can still be identified regarding the murders and other crimes that occurred at the Batalanda torture camp. If the law is enforced, gathering this evidence should not be difficult. Is it not the public's expectation to see justice served for these crimes rather than allowing them to be buried in the sands of time?
The final rites for the 29-year-old Yomesh Nadishan, who tragically lost his life in a shooting incident in Devinuvara Mathura on the 21st, were held this afternoon. The shooting occurred in front of the southern entrance of the Devinuvara Sri Vishnu Devalaya on Sinhasana Road, targeting two individuals travelling on a motorcycle. The victims, aged 28 and 29, were shot by a group that arrived in a van. Though relatives attempted to bring the remains of Yomesh Nadishan to the Devinuvara town centre this afternoon, police intervened and prevented the procession. The police riot squad was also called to the scene. Yomesh's relatives later took his remains behind the Devinuvara Devalaya to the family cemetery, where they conducted the final rites in keeping with Buddhist traditions.
Deputy Minister of Digital Economy Iranga Veeraratna said that the Starlink satellite internet service has not been suspended in Sri Lanka.
Steps were not taken to suspend the service. There are certain facilities required to ensure that this does not affect national security. Until these are in place, the service cannot be launched. This is the issue.
අවශ්‍ය පාස්කම ලබා දෙනකන් ඒ කට්ටියට සර්විස් එක දෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ පාස්කම ලබා දෙන දවස් තාම අපිට කියලා නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒතකන් ඒ කට්ටියට ඒ සර්විස් එක ලොන්ච් කරන්න බැරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
The fifth round of senior official talks and third strategic maritime dialogue between Sri Lanka and Australia will kick off tomorrow.
The fifth round of senior officials talks and third strategic maritime dialogue between Sri Lanka and Australia will be held between the 25th and 26th of March 2025 at the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade of Australia in Canberra. The consultations will take stock of the bilateral, regional and multilateral relationship between the two countries, including on strengthening cooperation in key areas, including political engagement, economic partnership, maritime cooperation, development partnership, defence, education, tourism and people-to-people engagement. The two sides will also exchange views on developments of interest to both countries.
Vice Admiral Kanchana Banagoda, the commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, participated in the insignia awarding and passing out ceremony at the Special Boat Squadron headquarters in Trincomalee.
The commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Kanchana Banagoda, attended the Special Boat Squadron insignia awarding and passing out ceremony at SBS headquarters, Trincomalee. The event marked the successful completion of course number 32 by 2 officers and 34 sailors, showcasing the rigorous training and dedication of the naval personnel. The awarding of insignias was a significant milestone for the personnel, symbolizing their readiness, skill and commitment to the highest standards. Outstanding trainees received awards from the Commander of the Navy, including the Commander S.N.K. Silva Memorial Trophy for Sub-Lieutenant R.M.Y.K. Ratnayaka, the Commander C.D. Martinstein Memorial Trophy for Ordinary Seaman KMSR Premalal and several other prestigious accolades. The ceremony featured impressive combat demonstrations by SPS personnel, including sea, air and land exhibitions, showcasing the expertise of SPS snipers, combat divers, VBSS teams and more.
South Korea's Constitutional Court has dismissed the impeachment of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, reinstating him as the country's acting president.
South Korea's Constitutional Court has reinstated impeached Prime Minister Han Duck-soo as acting president, the latest twist in the political saga set off by the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol. The court's 8 justices voted 7-1 to dismiss Han's impeachment today, restoring him to the country's highest office, while they separately consider the fate of Yoon, who was suspended from his duties after briefly imposing martial law on the 3rd December. 5 of the court's judges found that there were not sufficient grounds to impeach Han, though the impeachment motion against him was valid. Two justices ruled that the legislature's impeachment motion lacked legitimacy from the start, as it had been only backed by 192 of 300 lawmakers instead of a two-thirds majority. The ruling comes as South Korea waits for the same court to decide whether it will impeach Yoon, whose short-lived suspension of civilian legal processes briefly banned political activity and sent the troops to the heart of the nation's democracy, plunging the US treaty ally and economic powerhouse into turmoil. Yoon was later suspended by lawmakers on the 14th December, after which Han assumed the role of acting president. But Han lasted less than 2 weeks in the role before the main opposition party filed an impeachment motion against him, owing to his refusal to appoint one of the 3 vacant seats in the Constitutional Court.
Turning our attention to the Middle East, an Israeli airstrike on a hospital in southern Gaza has killed at least 2 people, including a senior Hamas official and a 16-year-old boy.
Ismail Barhoum, a member of Hamas's political bureau, was killed while undergoing treatment at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis late on Sunday. In a statement, the Palestinian armed group said, quote-unquote, "We condemn this latest crime, which adds to the occupation's longest record of terrorism, violating sanctities, lives and medical facilities." It added, quote-unquote, "It reaffirms its disregard for all international laws and conventions and its continued policy of systematic killing against our people and leadership." Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz confirmed that Barhoum had been the target of the attack. Barhoum's assassination came just hours after Hamas said Israeli forces had killed Salah al-Bardawi, another member of the group's political bureau, along with his wife in a strike on a tent shelter in Khan Yunis. Israel has killed 4 members of Hamas's political bureau since Tuesday, when its forces resumed major military operations in the enclave following a weeks-long impasse over the next stage of its ceasefire with Hamas.
Canada's newly appointed Prime Minister Mark Carney has called a snap election, sending the country to the polls on the 28th of April.
I've just requested that the Governor-General dissolve Parliament and call an election for April 28th. And she has agreed. We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes because of President Trump's unjustified trade actions and his threats to our sovereignty. Our response must be to build a strong economy and a more secure Canada. President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen. We're over the shock of the betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves. We have to look out for each other. But what's important is that the government has a mandate from the Canadian people to finish the job of building that Canadian economy, to finish the job of diversifying our trading partners, and to have a strong mandate to stand up to Donald Trump and the Americans and negotiate the best deal for Canadians. And that's what I will do.
The election comes as Canada faces a trade war with the US and calls from President Donald Trump for it to become the 51st American state, issues which are expected to be top of mind for voters. It also comes 9 days after Carney, a Liberal, was sworn in as Canada's Prime Minister following Justin Trudeau's resignation. Carney must now face Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, whose party had been leading in national polls since mid-2023. The recent polls suggest the race is now neck and neck.
The annual Parliamentary Members' Indoor Sports Competition was held this year as well.
The 5th annual Parliamentary Members' Indoor Sports Competition took place at the Billiards Hall in Parliament. D.V. Chanaka triumphed in snooker. Rohana Bandara won the pool championship. WHM Dharmasena came out on top in draughts. In table tennis, the men's title was claimed by Varuna Liyanage and the women's title went to Nilanthi Kottahachi. The mixed doubles was a special moment with Deputy Minister Chaturanga Abesinghe teaming up with Nilanthi Kottahachi to take the win. Prageet Maduranga claimed the Carom Championship. The event wrapped up with a ceremony where winners received their prizes and certificates presented by Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne.
Sri Lanka is truly a breathtaking country, isn't it? Beyond the iconic landmarks we all know and love, there are countless hidden gems just waiting to be discovered. And this is one of those hidden treasures.
We leave you tonight with that story. Thank you for stopping by. That's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Located in Badulla, Atampitiya Fort, also known as the Kottagodalla Fort, is a site of great historical significance. In the past, this fort was the battleground for fierce clashes between the Sinhalese and the Portuguese. Today, only the fort's foundation remains, but its legacy continues to captivate visitors and history enthusiasts alike. The name Atampitiya is said to be derived from the terms Satanpitiya, meaning battlefield, and Hatanpitiya, reflecting the site's tumultuous past.
From this vantage point, you can see the eastern province along with the central, Sabaragamo, southern and Uva provinces. In fact, 5 provinces can be seen from here. That is the unique charm of this place.
Climbing to the top of the hill where the fort once stood offers a spectacular view that feels like you're floating among the clouds. Today, only the foundation of Atampitiya Fort remains. But beneath these grounds lies a powerful history, quietly waiting to be rediscovered, a story buried under the sands of time.